She wants to be the next leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. Leslyn Lewis joins me this morning on 1310 News. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, it's very nice to hear from you. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
For people who don't know you or your background, who is Leslyn Lewis?
Well, Leslyn Lewis is, I believe, the new person on the block that is contesting for the leadership of the Federal Conservative Party of Canada. By way of background, I'm a lawyer. I have had my own business, so I know what the struggles are like for business owners who employ 80% of all Canadians. I'm a proud mother of two, and I'm someone who has a wealth of experience outside of politics and at the grassroots level of politics that I believe that I could utilize my past experience to really put this country in the right direction.
Okay. You're a lawyer, but we won't hold that against you. There are a lot of lawyers in this race, actually. Three out of the four are lawyers. Okay. Let me ask you this. To you, what does it mean to be a conservative? Leslyn Lewis is a conservative. What does that mean? What are conservative principles, like basic core conservative, fundamental conservative principles?
Well, I'll tell you how I was raised. I was raised in a household that, my parents came here as immigrants. They left everything behind because they wanted to raise their children in the best country in the world with the greatest opportunities in the world. And they believed that when you come here, you contribute to this country and you build it up. And so I never saw my parents call in sick for work unless they were at a doctor's or the hospital. They worked 3 jobs. They worked really hard. They had strong, Christian values, and other people have other values that are their foundation. My parents were strong Christian values, and they raised their kids in accordance with those values. They believed in hard work. They believed that the system wasn't there to defeat you, that you can break through, that hard work and perseverance can really compensate for anything. And so those are the values that they raised me with. They raised me to put, God first, country second, and country and family after that. And that, that anything that you wanted to put your mind to, you could achieve it in this country because this is the greatest country in the world.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Why you for conservative leader and not them, the 3 men in the race?
Well, because I feel that my values more closely align with what, Canadians are looking for at this point in time. They're looking for somebody who will not be ashamed to uphold our Canadian identity, to say that this is what makes us unique as Canadians, and also to bring us together, to stop dividing us based on, different things like our religion and our race and different elements of us that just serve to divide us. So they're looking for right now a unifier, someone who will not even tear down their opponents, but will raise up to the level of demonstrating what it means to be a leader, and someone that they can be proud to lead the country into the new direction. Okay.
You've been described as a social conservative. You haven't backed down from that. What does that mean, in your opinion? Leslyn Lewis is a social conservative, a SOCON.
Well, for me, it just means that I believe in, that the family is the cornerstone of society. And so many of my policies are based upon keeping the family strong and realizing that as an institution, that is the core institution in society. And if we have vibrant families, then we can have a vibrant society. And that's basically the core of my social conservatism. Also, I'm a person that believes in the sanctity of life. And so maybe people see that as a social conservative value too. But a lot of Canadians believe in that core fundamental belief. And I think that no matter what your beliefs are as a Canadian, we have a free and democratic society where we respect divergent perspectives. And so I respect somebody who may not share my beliefs.
Sure.
And I want them to know that we can all be a part of the Canadian family, and we all have a role to play in our democracy.
Okay, but you are opposed to a government imposed ban on conversion therapy, for example. Why are you've spoken out against that? Why is that?
That's not true. That's how
That's
the
not
media
true?
has
Okay.
well, the media has characterized it in a certain way.
Okay.
What I oppose to in conversion therapy is I oppose to the fact that the legislation has exceptions. There's an exception to allow a child to take medication without parental consent. There's an exception to have a child have surgery without parental consent. My issue is just parental autonomy. I believe that the government is encroaching step by step on parental authority, and that's what I have a problem with. There is a 5-year criminal term for anybody who even talks to a child about their sexuality, and there's no exception for parents and pastors. And I truly believe that when a child is struggling with certain issues, that the person closest to them is a mother and the father that should help them, and the government should be there to help parents get their children through these issues. And when they become adults, they can decide whether they want a surgery or not. They can make these life-altering decisions when they're adults. But this legislation alienates parents from their children. And so I say that this legislation needs to be redrafted. I do not approve of any forced therapy. I do not approve of that whatsoever.
Okay.
And so I want that to be very clear.
Okay. Clear. Let's move along because our time is tight here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask what you think you could bring as the leader of the Conservative Party that would broaden the appeal of Canadian conservatism to young people, to younger voters, so that it's for example, on issues of equality rights. We're dealing with so much racial tension in the country right now, gay rights, issues about climate change. You know that young Canadians are very passionate about these issues, and Conservatives have to have policies that keep them in mind. So how do you craft such policies keeping young Canadians in mind?
Very good question. So with respect to the issue of the environment, that is one area that the Conservatives have identified that voters were not happy with the way that we dealt with that. So what I've done is I have a master's of environmental studies, so I've spent years studying the environment, and it's something that I believe should be an integral part of every aspect of your policy. And that's really what I've done. I've incorporated into all aspects of policy and proposed a national environmental education strategy also to complement the economic sides of the policies that I've proposed. In addition to that, I have focused specific issues on the youth. The youth are very concerned with affordability, and they're very concerned that they're graduating from school and competing with their parents for jobs. And so I have policies that look at mass transit, that look at how they're financing their education and extending interest-free periods for people with student loans, and just making sure that we are dealing with things like such as affordable housing. And these things are all issues that are very that are utmost concern to the youth. They're also concerned that people are included in our processes. And so I believe that I have a unique ability to reach out to urban centers where we have diverse populations, immigrant populations, and bring them in to the Conservative family.
Okay. Let me ask you, given your life experience, what you think about the discussions about systemic racism in Canada and possibly reforms to policing. What do you think about that? Should we reform the police, defund the police, these kinds of things?
I'm not happy with those discussions about defunding the police because I believe that no institution is perfect, and we're never going to find, no matter how hard we work, we're never going to have a perfect institution. What I believe that we should look at things within the police force, such as, de-escalation tactics, use of force, and we should make them better. So I'm about improving the police force because I believe that I respect the people who have served and protected us. And I think that it can be very debilitating for them to wake up, put on their uniform every day to serve us and to protect us and have chance of defunding them. So I think that I'd like to work to build up the police force and make it stronger. With respect to the issue of systemic racism, again, Canada is the best country in the world. I would not want to live anywhere. Our systems are the best in the world, I believe, but they can always be better. And I'm open to hearing from people who identify certain issues within certain systems and working towards making them better.
Okay. Good luck to you.
But what I don't
Sorry.
agree with, I just want to say what I don't agree with is the liberal narrative of defeatism. I don't agree with the notion that the system is there to work against people, and so they should adopt a defeatist mentality that they cannot achieve success. I believe in individual merit, individual hard work, and that is a conservative value.
Okay. Thank you very much. Good luck
Thank
to
you.
you. Yes.
Okay.
Leslyn Lewis, running for the leadership of the Conservative Party of Canada.